and I say this with sincerity, simply because it wasn't long ago that I was living in one of California's largest gated communities, surrounded and being escorted by the highest paid security your tax dollars could afford. Made sure people didn't bother me. But today, God has me here. Only He is able to come into this and change it, to bring me to a place where I'm amongst you. I am honored to be in the company of men and women like yourselves. I really am. When I spent most of 30-something years in and out of correctional facilities, being a consumer of county jail services, Fresno County Jail being the last one, I got to tell you, if it was the first one, I would have never came back again. It's got the worst food in America. I was a believer after that. I got to tell you. But I got to say this. God has been so good to me. He's dwelled in my heart and in my life as a result of the work of many of you people. I started off as a little kid with a mother and a stepfather. They were Christians. I can remember back when my mother played that piano and I was sitting on that bench with her, and while she's playing in that gospel music and I want to press one of them keys and she slapped my hand and I put it back and I'm like, okay. And she married this guy, and this guy decided to change our religion to the Nation of Islam. My transition from I can't play with you because you're white to I can't eat that food because you have a restricted diet now, I didn't understand as a little kid. And so I suffered many beatings, bruises, scars, which I wear today. So my dad, he came into my life and he found me. He took me to school one day and they committed me into a juvenile facility and he got custody of me. And it was the first time I ever experienced Christmas. They didn't tell me it was about Jesus, so I thought it was all about those toys that I never got a chance to have. I didn't understand the real meaning of it, but I knew it was nice. I love Christmas. Somewhere around 12, 13, I started to show that I was damaged goods. From all those beatings, I had mental issues. My dad sent me to see psychiatrists, he sent me to see doctors, he sent me all these different people, and nobody could seem to figure out what my problem was. And so I ended up running away, and I started running away a lot. He owned a business, and he pulled me over one time after he got me at my grandmother's. He says, hey man, I got a business, I got 12 other kids to feed and raise, and I can't keep chasing you. So I'm gonna take you to this place where I think you might like it. He drove me up to Eureka and left me in the hands of a man named Jim Jones. So, I didn't know that much about the place other than I liked it because there was a lot of games, there was a lot of kids, there was a lot of fun, there was a lot of toys. But I got to tell you, I thank God for that runaway spirit because I ended up hitchhiking with some hippies in a van going back to San Francisco. But I got to tell you, I did not want to hear any more about this person called God. He left me in the hands of people that abused me. He left me in the hands of people. I didn't want to hear it. So I decided to start living a negative lifestyle, drinking, boozing, partying, doing all the negative things. I graduated high school at an early age and I thought I accomplished everything that I needed to do. My dad offered me a job, or he said, go to school. I said, I want to work. Matter of fact, I don't want to do nothing. Leave me alone. And so I ran the streets and I started in and out of jail. By the time I got to the point of being about 17 or 18 years old, I'm in jail and I'm realizing that I don't have access to the things that I like. I started hanging around with other guys. I started getting involved with gangs. I started doing the things that were real negative in that jail lifestyle. I started to become institutionalized. I thought it was okay to be here. I accepted my fate as it is and as it was. And if I went home, it was only for a family visit. My real home was here with you guys, right here in this cell. So I became accustomed to living like that. But the in and out process, as time goes by, we start maturing, we start growing older, as I did. And I started realizing for the first time, I woke up one day while in San Quentin, and my bunkie's feet was hanging over the bunk. And I'm sleeping on the bottom bunk, and I wake up and my face almost hit his feet. For the first time in my life, I come to realize I don't like living with men. I hate it. I hate it. I don't like sitting on the same commode. I don't like using the same sink. I don't like putting on the same clothes another man put on. But this is something I've accepted for a long time, so it's got to be some insanity to this. Now, how can I find some truth and some understanding and change my values and my principles when I don't have any but what prison has already taught me? So as I'm back home and I get ready to come back to jail again, I get an opportunity. I met some people inside the county jail here at Fresno. And they shared some of those books with me. And they sat down and graded them with me. They witnessed to me. They knocked at my cell door when I was lonely. They knocked at my cell door when I was crying. Because see, it ain't cool to show your tears. When my family turned their back on me, and I found myself using a bar of soap as deodorant, and I'm brushing my teeth with tooth powder, and I'm gagging because it feels like tear gas. And I'm saying, you know what? I'm tired of living like this. So when men started coming into the pod, like Rocky Martinez and Les Moore, I wanted to hear what they had to say. And what they started saying to me made more sense than my sense. So let me see if this really works. If it don't work, I can go back to doing what I've been doing. And so when I started learning these scriptures, I could quote them, but I wasn't living them. So now I have to put this into practice. As I learn the scripture, I have to practice. Today, I was challenged to be here. I was really challenged. The enemy didn't want me here. Anytime I'm getting ready to do some of his work, he's challenging me. But I know the word, because greater is he that is in me than he that is of the world. No weapon formed against me shall ever prosper. And I put on that helmet of salvation, the breastplate of righteousness, girding my loins with the truth, and the shoes of the gospel, and the shield of faith, that I may quench the fiery darts of the enemy, and bear about my sword, that I may rightly divide his word. Nothing's going to stop me from doing what God has for me. He came into my life and he changed my life, my position, my condition, and he gave me a new way to go. So, with saying that, in 2015, there was a program called Realignment. There was a judge named Hennessy who was a federal judge. And I remember about 2012, inmates were hooting on about this judge. He's debating with the governor and some other people about letting these prison overcrowding and letting some of us out of there. I'm like, okay, big deal. God does it, it's okay. If he don't, it's okay. I'm going to keep serving him. So I started doing some work on my recovery. I went to a drug program inside the prison. I went to a Bible college while I was in prison, Patton University. Graduated, got an associate art in theology. San Quentin had changed from being a prison to me to a university. It gave me an opportunity to grow in a newness and a likeness in Christ. I had to separate myself from old things and old people, and it wasn't always easy. See, being a gang leader of the Black Guerrilla family for 10 years at San Quentin and being the leader in the shot call and deciding to walk away and serve God wasn't accepted. It was blood in and blood out. I said, if it's going to be blood out, it's going to be Jesus' blood out. How about that?
Yeah.
Bring it on. I know somebody that can take you. Yeah. So when they saw I was serious and I was solid and I wasn't wavering, they left me alone. God did that, not me. He did that. So here, 2015, they came up with this thing called realignment. They decided that the two-striper, non-violent offenders, we're going to look at some of them, and we're going to decide whether some of these guys can go home. 2 guys went to the board. You have to go to the board just like lifers do. 2 guys went to the board before me, and they got denied. And so I hear hustle, what happened? And they both of them shared lots of different reasons why they denied them, but the one thing they had in common is they said, the board members said, well, you do good in prison. It's just when you get out there that you mess up. I said, they're going to say the same thing about me. God, you got to do something here. And so what he did was, he gave me a drug program, and I wrote to the pastor, and I said, you know, I need a place. He says, you're welcome.
And so when I went to the board, they said, well, Mr. Allen started doing these wonderful things 2012 and so on and so on. He said, well, yeah, but you're good in prison. But when you get out, you mess up. And I said, that's the reason why I'm placing myself in a structured environment in the community, so that I can make that transition from institutionalization to pro-socialization into the mainstream of society, if given this opportunity. And they said, we think you're ready. So I'm the first person that they let out of San Quentin under the AB 109. And I stand here before you as a testament that it is possible for men to make it because of you. Because of you. Because of you. Because of you. And it's because men and women stuck with me, supported me. Support is key. If you work with people inside a prison and they come back into the community and they're left to fend for themselves, you can't really expect them to make it. But as far as their own will allow them. But if you're there with them, there's times when I was able to pick up that phone and say, hey man, I'm about to do it. I'm really urgent. I'm really going through this temptation, man, and I can't handle it. And men came and sat with me and talked with me and prayed with me and mentored with me. It's 2 and 3 in the morning until that monkey was off my back and I was able to get up and go back to work. But I'm going to tell you something. God has really, people ask me, they say, what's the difference now between all those other times I was in and out of prison? I said, God freed me on the inside this time before he freed me to the community. So he released me 2 years before my release date. He discharged me off of probation 2 years before my discharge. I'm a free man now, and I'm a free man in Christ Jesus. Amen?
Amen.
All right. I got to say, since I've been home, I've gotten involved in Campus Bible Church. And my first encounter with this church was Chaplain Les invited me and went through a Men in Actions class. And it was for about about 4 months. And it was teaching me how to become a leader. So I knew how to lead men into battle in the war zones inside of prison, but I didn't know how to lead myself and take care of my family and take care of my community. And so I gained these leadership skills and I developed them as a result of some of the work that was taught to me inside this church. Today, I started college at Fresno City a couple of years ago, and I have 1 more semester before I graduate. I have a job working now at Westcare as a drug and alcohol counselor. And I'm sitting here thinking about all those volunteer hours you were sharing a little while ago. I'm saying, I wish I could get about 2,000 of them, because I need it for my KDAC certification. Anybody want to help me there? I do. I just say, God has given me a reason. He's given me a purpose. He's given me a direction. He's given me a new lease on life. And it's because of you. I got to also say it and give acknowledgement too. He's also blessed me with a fiance. We're due to get married sometime in February. Arshina, would you stand up? Hey, everybody. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I tell you. And he's also given me a 4-year-old who's very rambunctious and can't ever shut up. And I got to leave the house and do my homework because he's there, but I love him. Stefan, are you there, man? Come on, man. There he is.
So cute.
Those are the reasons. Those are the purposes. That's the reason why I wake up in the morning. I really do. And I smell that eucalyptus tree in front of my house, and I thank God I don't have to smell another man. God, man, this eucalyptus is good. You've given me a reason. And I tell you, I'm still drug-free. As of November the 2nd, 2009, God has made me drug, alcohol, cigarette-free. And also, before closing, I want to give acknowledgement to all the chaplains that do the work, those that get paid, but also you that don't get paid. And your wives for allowing you to separate yourself from them and come kick it with a guy like me. I really want to thank you guys. I'm serious. May God be your joy and peace, and I say thank you very much. God bless you.